Hey, it's Adam Zdroik. It's Wednesday, May 15th. We have the season finale coming up in the Premier League on Sunday. We got a couple more games on Wednesday, but I'm just going to be looking at a few early things that you can use if you want for the DraftKings slate on Sunday, the 10-game slate. But as you can see on the screen, this is only going to be on YouTube or Twitter, so you probably can see it on the screen. I put up a graphic of our content schedule coming up. So I'm doing this show. It's going to be short and sweet, maybe some helpful information, maybe not helpful information. But tomorrow I'll do my Premier League predicted lineup show early in the morning, probably 11 a.m. Eastern-ish. And I just run through basically all 20 teams, injury situations, lineup situations. There's not, a ton of situations going on in terms of this team must win kind of thing. Maybe I'll mention that as well, but there's not a ton in play outside of Man City and Arsenal on that final day. But that is Thursday in the morning. And then the main DraftKings DFS show Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, usual time. Again, the hope is that we're going to get DraftKings salaries on Thursday. That is kind of what we're prepping for. If we get them Friday afternoon, Friday night, the schedule is going to be a little different. I'm not sure exactly how they will look. We will get some kind of video up at some point, no matter when the salaries come out. No guarantees we'll get the DraftKings Cash and GPP article, but this is what the current plan looks like as long as we get the salaries out on Thursday. Again, we have a 2-game and a showdown on Wednesday, and then there's other non-Premier League stuff going on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But you got to think that with King of the Pitch, final day of the season, these salaries will be out Thursday. At least, fingers crossed. That's what we're kind of all hoping on. And then Kits and Wagers, in case you're into betting show, we're going to have 22 bets on that show. It's going to be a little 1v1, you can say. I'm going to have 10 bets going against Chris Owens, 10 bets. That is Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern. We're also going to have a team parlay that's at least plus 1,500 odds. And then the plan is I'm going to try and come on, risk building my own lineups, come on Sunday morning for lineup release, run down lineups, try and get all the formations in within 10 minutes of lineup release. So hopefully I'll maybe do a little intro 9:50 a.m. and then I'll be out by 10:10 a.m. Hopefully I can get through all of those formations. I got to go really quick with that, but that is the goal. I'm going to try and go through all the lineups, try and help everyone to know, who's starting, what the formations look like. So that is the goal right now. And then, as I said earlier, we got the DraftKings Cash article and a GPP article. Plan is Ryan Belangi is going to do the Cash article, and then Jack Burkhart's going to do the GPP article. Also, the DFS show on Friday, we're going to have Jordan Cooper. He is set to be on again as long as the prices are out. Me, Jordan Cooper, and Jack Burkhart for that one. And then we'll also, of course, we will have our FanDuel DFS article that'll be written by Dane Scheinall. That'll be good. All the articles hopefully out by Friday. We'll see. Hopefully I don't want to be posting any articles on Saturday, but what's up, Jack? We got Jack listening live here. So I'm just going to run through a few things, look at some historical numbers, look at some historical stats. First off, I'm going to run through some stuff available at RotoWire. As usual, rotowire.com/soccer trial, 48-hour trial. You're going to want to try. You're going to want a subscription here for the final week of the season. We got a busy Wednesday. There's like 25 matches today. So everyone is kind of busy writing notes. We got a full 13, 14 match MLS slate on Wednesday. So those updates will be coming out. Looks like Zaniolo picked up a long-term foot injury as well. But this is going to be for Sunday. This is going to be for Sunday's season finale. And I know we don't have the prices out yet, but we do have, I know a lot of the DFS players, they never really click on this FPL one, but we have an FPL cheat sheet that is actually can be useful for Sunday slate because we do have a 10-gamer. So this FPL cheat sheet is basically everything you're going to see from a DraftKings cheat sheet, FanDuel cheat sheet. Just like obviously the prices are different, but we have everything is going to be the same. So you can come on here, you can look at the lineups, look at the injury situations, look at the odds report. You can download all these odds right now. You can get these, you can get ahead of the curve a little bit by I know a lot of people run their own projections, so this is kind of what that'd be for. But just get a little sense of what the slate is. Manchester City, Liverpool, Arsenal, all at home, all as 80% plus favorite, all with at least a 2.5 implied goal total. Two other teams with at least a 2.3 implied goal total. Just massive numbers, something that we've seen pretty much throughout the season. And now that I'm looking fully at the implied goal total, all of the matches have at least 3.29 implied goals, which is honestly the zero chance it's ever happened before on the final day. The odds have been just juiced in terms of goals, and there's just been constant stream of goals here. And then you throw in so many of these teams have little to play for. Is that going to mean goals? Is that going to be no goals? We'll find out. But either way, the odds are suggesting goals because this is a historic Premier League season in terms of goal scoring. So that is why the odds look like this. It has nothing to do with, I don't know what I was going to say, but there's been a lot of goals this season. So all these matches expect to have goals is kind of what it comes down to. We also got goal score odds. These goal score odds are up, and holy cow. So we got Erling Haaland at minus 330 to score. I feel like, so Haaland at minus 330. So we look at this, Man City 2.84 implied goal total. Liverpool 2.7, Arsenal 2.56, Tottenham 2.53. So you think that like there'd be another player on one of these other teams? We must be missing some odds here. Okay, all the odds haven't come in. That's all right. So that explains it. We only have Man City and Arsenal goal scoring odds currently coming from DraftKings. It looks like the goal scoring odds for the other players are not in here, but we're still getting Saka at plus 105 to score despite being a similar favorite home against Everton as Man City are home against West Ham. But again, it's only Wednesday, so you can't use these yet. But I assume Thursday, DraftKings should have goal scoring odds up for all of these because, we do still have a couple more games, so maybe that comes into it a little bit. But obviously, just a reminder, make sure all the odds are in there before taking that. We have the free kick tracker, as usual. That's in there. And then player stats, goalie stats, team conceded stats, all that good stuff. So that is our cheat sheet. You can click on the FPL cheat sheet. Also, I just wanted to look at, I don't think I've actually mentioned this on a show. Click on the wrong button here. I'm going to the DFS trends. And I don't think I've actually mentioned this on the show. I think I only put it in Discord, rotowire.com/chat. But we added a few things to the DFS trends that even if you don't download these and do all your own projections and whatever, I think these are still pretty useful just to look at here. Again, look at a few days in advance. We added a few things here. So normally, you can click all games. This is every game of the season. But now you can click games only started for players, last 5 started, last 10 started, last 20 started. Also click standard or floor. Again, you can see what floor means right here. And then you'll probably want to click hide players who aren't on their original team, like the Alex Iwobis of the world who opened the season on Everton. So probably before you do anything, you want to click that one. But let's say you just want to look at, okay, who has been playing great for their last 5 matches started and what are their floors. And then you could just click this and you can see right here, here are the best from the last 5 matches started. Here are the best floors. So obviously you got Bruno Fernandes, Anthony Gordon without Kieran Trippier. His floor has been up there. Robertson's been awesome. There you go. So just DFS trends play. I know not as many people use it as probably should, but just another shout out for this. And there you go. So that's kind of what I was going to look at in terms of what our content is. Let me read a couple questions here. Love the content schedule. Yes, please DK release salaries early. That would be the first time, I think, in 2024 that they release salaries. FPL cheat sheet page goated for Excel sheet downloads for projections. Sometimes some lag on getting goal scoring odds from DK. Yeah, as a corner's better and looking at and using DraftKings, they don't this isn't like, I think, we're getting the NFL schedule right now, and it's like we could probably bet everything for like week one or some of these games and the schedules come out on DraftKings, but like we sometimes we have to wait till Thursday or Friday to actually get corners odds, to get goal scoring odds. I'm not sure if it's like that at all sports books, but all American sports books, for some reason, like we have to wait until like 2-3 days in advance to get full odds. So that is one of the unfortunate things here, but those should be all in by Thursday. And so I was going to look at, as I said, some historical stuff. When's Adam's baby making a cameo appearance? Well, obviously, I'm doing the show while she's napping, so I'm trying to I'm trying to set all these schedules around nap hour where possible. So, waiting for the first word, flag plant. Yeah, maybe. We've only got to the Mama Andata stages, but so let me get to the historical stuff here. Try and make this a quick show here. So I pulled up lineups for the 2022 King of the Pitch winner. That's Ryan Belangi, and the 2023 King of the Pitch winner. Just show some examples. Just because we don't have the, so they have these 10-game slates to close the season, and basically everyone's kind of flying blind a little bit here, just because we're used to the 3-game. We're used to showdowns, 2 games, 3 games, 4 games, 5 games, maybe some 6 games here and there slates. Unless you're big into like championship slates. I know there's a bunch of 10 gamers, but usually just like the 10-game slates is very rare. It's like once a season we're going to get these slates. So it's just completely different. And I know a lot of people, me early on, just looking at these, even just looking at, when you look at the player pool, it's just like, man, I'm just, there's so many things to look at here. So I just want to pull up some prior lineups to see how they're winning. And you don't like, I feel like usually on like the 2-3 game slates where you have these big favorites, it's like, okay, you gotta play 5-6 Arsenal, Man City guys, and then you got to try and be different. But really, on these 10-game slates, like you don't really have to try to be different. You find what you want to do, you find the teams that you want to target, and you go there. You don't really have to focus on, okay, this guy is going to be popular, so I have to fade him. Like that's not really a strategy in 10-game slates. And I mean, you'll find that it's not, you can't even compare it to other sports. I was gonna bring up NFL or NBA, something like that, but you can't really compare it to other sports because as we look at these lineups, so 2 years ago, Harry Kane, 9,800, 24%. Yeah, he was probably, I mean, this is against Norwich. Just in like I don't know, he was probably minus 200 to score. So I'll just run through the lineup here. So you got Harry Kane, probably the most likely goal scorer on the slate. Callum Wilson, he was probably, so this is against Burnley, he was probably like, I don't know, plus 100 to score. He was at a reduced value. If you've been playing for a couple of years, you remember the days of Callum Wilson. I guess this was a couple weeks ago. He was like 4K for Newcastle off the bench. But we actually, I say that, we actually might get that again with Newcastle here. We might get a 4K Callum Wilson. So, but you just have these, you're going to have cheap forwards that are, plus 100 to plus 150 to score, and they're all going to be under 5K. There's going to be options like that on this 10-game slate. Get Rafinha, a good floor play, 7K price wasn't overwhelming. Odegaard was kind of the separator. He was, this was 2 years ago, Odegaard, where his price is in like the 8K range is what it's been, but it was a 6,400. Ryan got him at 4%. Basically, no one played Odegaard, and he got a goal, 22 points from him. TAA, 7,300. 73%. He was underpriced at 6,400, so that's fine. Cedric probably should have been chalk on that slate. He started at fullback for Arsenal, 4,800. I think going into that, I think there's an assumption that he was actually on some set pieces as well. Ended up sending in 11 crosses, finishing with 32 points. And then Reece James got a late assist to win it there for Ryan. But looking at this lineup, I'm going to look at last year's lineup as well. No stacks, just looking for, you got a couple of full plays. You got one chalk guy really in TAA. Got a couple cheaper than they should be plays in Cedric and Callum. Odegaard, you have the instead of Saka or whoever started that game, you have a Saka was probably, I don't know, 9K in this slate, and then whoever else started in that game, you're getting a cheaper Arsenal player in a great spot. They're one of the biggest favorites home against Everton. They get 5 goals. Odegaard's involved in one of them. So it's a little mix and a match in there. Last season, it's a little different Moneyball, where Moneyball is a different kind of player than I think most are. I don't know how many. I think last year was 8 entries. I think this year that max is 10 entries. A couple people have those, but basically in all of Moneyball's entries, how he got to master the leaderboard here. In all of his entries, I believe he had Gabriel Jesus, Bukayo Saka, and Bruno Fernandes. Look at the score totals. Okay, that's about 75 points right there from 3 players. And then he kind of mixed and matched from there to fill out his roster. So, at the end of the day, you can look at this and well, it's not actually that difficult. Arsenal, we're in one of the better spots. They're at home. You can go after those guys. I know Tottenham also had I think Kane and Son were also 2 successful ones. I think Charlie played Kane and Son maybe. But again, 11 points back with that. And then just looking at this, okay, Moneyball played his trio of guys, and then he throws in another Arsenal piece in Trossard, who comes in at 10%, gets a couple assists, 22 points from him. Porro, popular, almost in the TAA spot as last season, 6,400, 47%, kind of a chalky play, ends up getting a goal and assist there against Leeds, and then Matt Targett does nothing for him. Matt Targett was a popular play because he started as a fullback for Newcastle, ended up not even getting 2 points there. Ended up not mattering because he got a winning clean sheet from Raya. And then Enzo Fernandez at 1% got him 13 floor points for 3,700. So, if you look at these couple lineups and it's okay, maybe you're stacking a few players here, Moneyball, stacking some Arsenal. But really, this, again, as I come back to it, this isn't like a 3-4 game slate where you're not really going to benefit from playing 4 or 5 guys from one team. You're not really going to have the same success unless that team scores 8 goals, because there's going to be goals from all these other teams. You don't have to stack 4, maybe even 3. I mean, again, you probably Moneyball probably could have got different here and somehow found, if he faded Saka, he probably could have got Kane or Son or somewhere in this lineup and probably maybe even gotten more points. I can't. Obviously Matt Targett is another discussion in itself, but there's a lot of, get your floor points, get your floor points and set pieces with Saka and Bruno, find the goal scores. I think when you run through it, you want your goal scores. You want to find the goal scores. You get your floor points and the goal scores. Otherwise, you're not going to win. You need goals on these slates is what it comes down to. And the last thing I was going to look at, so I pulled up results for the prior 3-ish seasons, and I just kind of want to point out here where, I think someone brought it up in Discord yesterday. I was like, oh, Tottenham had nothing to play for. I'm not really going to play them in the season finale here, and looking at these, I don't think it matters. We'll talk about it once we get to, these teams really have something to play for, so we got to play them. But, we look at, okay, these teams are already favored. Arsenal, Man City are already the biggest favorites on the slate. So I'm not even sure that's going to come into play. But I mean, if you look at all these results, all the highest scoring teams over the last few seasons, they've come in with pretty much the highest implied goal totals already, whether they have something to play for, whether they don't have something to play for. If it's a good matchup, they're going to score goals. And that's what you're playing for. You're playing to score goals. Maybe you're going to maybe if a team's pressing and trying to win, you're going to get more set pieces kind of thing. But I don't know how many teams are actually going to be in a spot where that's the case. Like Arsenal, Man City aren't really going to be in that spot. I mean, I'd have to look at it a little more, but I know Newcastle and Chelsea play today, so we're going to find out what their motivations will be on that final day. So maybe we're going to get Trippier starting on Sunday, where Newcastle need to win to get the final European place or something like that. And then I think Chelsea are in a pretty decent spot. Maybe we'll get Chelsea also needing a win and something like that. So there'll be a couple situations like that. But at the end of the day, it's more about matchups and it's more about backing teams that are going to score and backing teams that are better than not so good teams. So just running through this, you can see all the. I put so when I put top four, top two, that's what they're playing for. That's what Tottenham, that's what Liverpool, Man City, that's what those teams are playing for in those matches. Um, and then you have all the nothings, nothing to play for. Liverpool 4 goals, Arsenal 5 goals. Leicester, I look at all those matchups. They were against pretty weak sides. Leicester, I think, played Leeds in that game where they scored 4 goals. West Ham, I believe they played someone pretty bad that got relegated as well. Leeds also on this graphic, which is kind of incredible. Leeds had 3 goals. I think they played someone that was relegated. Ended up getting 3 goals, but again, they had a 2.25 implied goal total. So you want to look at the teams that are actually going to score here. And of course, we look at the cheat sheet and it's like, oh, everyone actually has a high implied goal total. So what does it mean? Well, I think it means that you still go with the big favorites. The fun thing about the 10-game slate is that you have a lot of ways to go. I think if when looking at this, you probably have at least 5 teams here who could reasonably score 4 or 5 goals, 5 biggest favorites. You could probably, I don't know if I go that far. We'll see what the prices are on Eze and Mateta and Olise. But Crystal Palace at home could be the final match that basically Olise and Eze play together. Aston Villa just secured Champions League. They just celebrated last night. What's their motivation going to be like? We could see 4 or 5 goals from Crystal Palace. We'll see if that'll be a thing to look at for lineups. Like, are these guys going to be drinking for the next 3 days for Aston Villa to where there's just going to be, a couple puppies? Shouts to Luis, a couple puppies in the Aston Villa lineup where they just rotate because this game doesn't mean anything for them. So there'll be things to look at like that once lineups come out. And at that point, if Aston Villa does rotate a bunch, like you could see this number jump to 2.2, 2.3, whatever for Crystal Palace. It was only a couple games ago. They got 4 past Manchester United, so it won't be surprising for them to score 3, 4, 5 goals. And then Brighton home against Manchester United. Again, that's another situation. Is it the final Eric Ten Hag match? Brighton at home haven't really been scoring that much, but they're a team that dominate the ball. So I think you may depending on lineups, we start with these 5 teams that all have a decent shot of getting 3, 4, 5 goals. But then maybe look at lineups, and even without looking at lineups, we could see Crystal Palace and Brighton creep in. So you probably want to get goal scorers, maybe 1 or 2 players from those 7 teams, and kind of focus on going from there. And then there's always going to be sub 4K guy there's probably going to be 10 sub 4K players who are all playable, and all of them are sub 10%. And as long as, just looking back at those other lineups I pulled up, maybe you're getting like a 10, 13 point floor from Enzo Fernandez, like Moneyball did on that last slate. Maybe you're just doing stuff like that. There's going to be cheap players because you need cheap players because there's going to be expensive players. That's kind of what the 10-game slate does for it. But I think that's all I got here. Show them my team. Jack Burkhart was saying, show them his team from one of the prior years to show them not what to do. Unfortunately, I did not pull that up in the graphic, but maybe I should have. Maybe I'll bring that up for the show on Friday. But that's all I got. Just wanted to run through some of our content and run through couple historical things just to get an idea of these 10-game slates and some ideas of what winners have done in the past. So hopefully this has been helpful. Just a little bit of an idea to give some more content to the people. I know it's been a tough few months here in terms of getting content out just because DraftKings hasn't been helpful for us, but we got a busy week ahead, and I'll put up that content schedule one more time here. But rotowire.com/soccer trial, 24-hour trial. Any questions, hit up RotoWire Soccer on Twitter or hit me up at RotoZdroik. Again, we got a busy week. Let's get a RotoWire King of the Pitch winner, and whatever that main contest is. I think the main contest is 50K, something like that. Maybe we'll get a main contest winner as well. So everyone, it's going to be a fun week. Any questions, let us know in the Discord, let us know anywhere, and we'll get the content out for you. But good luck, everyone. And I guess we'll see everyone the rest of the week, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. Busy week here. Thanks for watching this.